What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Divo Knives Nip. Now, the Nip is, I believe, the most recent, no, I take that back. The Lush was the most recent Divo knife to drop, but this is the second most recent knife to drop, and it is the smallest Divo knife in existence so far. Unfortunately, this was not a drop I got in on because I just wasn't sure how. You know, a lot of the time with like small micro knives with this, I'm not really sure how they are going to feel in my hand, fit in my hand, how the action is going to be. But I'll go out on a limb right now and say that this is arguably the best small knife I've ever handled. This thing is just utterly fantastic. Kevin and Colin killed it from an action, well, obviously they didn't kill the action, but from a design standpoint, I don't know if Kubi designed or made these. I'll look on the website and see. Yeah, so Kubi did the manufacturing behind these, but just all around, they came up with a fantastic design. I mean, look how just wicked that little, it's almost like a little box cutter with a hole for deployment. Obviously, cool camo carbon, milled clip, just all around a fantastic knife, and I have been really blown away by it. So if they ever do another run of these, I believe they might be doing also maybe a more budget version. I believe Kevin has floated the idea around. I don't know how, how it's probably far off, maybe not even this year, because Kevin and Colin have quite a few designs and obviously different, collaborations and different things up their sleeve. But I would definitely not be opposed to picking up one of these in the future, or if I can find one on the secondary for a good price, because this thing's fantastic. I have, I was really excited for this one to come in, and I was really, really blown away by just how much, I enjoyed carrying it. I enjoyed fidgeting with it. I reached for it a ton since I've had it in, just, being around the house, going out and doing things. I carried it a ton. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to get this review started. Now for versions, there were 4 different versions a part of the drop, and unfortunately they are all sold out right now. But I'm still going to leave a link down below to Divo Knives website, specifically to the Nip page for more information if you guys are interested. Because again, I would not be surprised if they do another run of these or a budget version in the future, considering how popular they were. But the 4 versions, so this is the Jack Sparrow, which has this black camo carbon, which I believe is the first variation that I've ever handled in person. You guys can see it has a nice ripple through there. So it's very nice. And then the other version on Divo Knives website was the Purple Narple, which was a purple camo carbon with a purple clip and purple pivot collar. And then there was a version on traditionalpocketknives.com that was an exclusive. That was a fully PVD coated titanium blacked out version. And I believe White Mountain Knives also had a version, and it was the plain Jane titanium, I believe, with a blue pivot collar. So there's 4 different versions of these, so you get a little bit of flavor for everything. But yeah, so obviously, like I said, this is the Jack Sparrow, so camo carbon, black camo carbon on there. You have an S90V Warncliffe style blade right there. Yeah, my camera will pick it up on the bottom there. You have a 50/50 choil. You have a nice small, just overall good little small package. Lanyard loop is in the back spacer. Of course, you do have Lefty carryability on the clip, righty and lefty. As for internal milling, there are 3 pockets milled out on the show scale side. It looks like no pockets on the liner side, or liner lock side, excuse me. You have plenty of lock bar access there, and there is the DK logo on the pivot, like usual. So quick little info sheet. The blade length is 2.25 inches, handle length of 3.25 inches, blade thickness of 0.11 inches, coming in at 2.1 ounces. It is being considered a modified sheep's foot, sorry, not a Warncliffe. And like I said, it is made by Kubi, which is really cool. And it has a belt satin with a hollow grind, real nice thin grind, comes down to a great thin edge, medium blade stock thickness. Yeah, so I guess that leads me to my first rating. Materials out of 5. I have to give it a 5, especially with the price that we're considering, which we'll touch on later. I really, for S90V, a cool camo carbon, flipper tab with a hole for deployment. Mill titanium clip that is lefty or righty carry. I really don't think you can go wrong, so I'm going to have to give it a 5. Next up, real quick, we're going to talk about the aesthetic. I personally think this thing looks just sick. I would love it if they made like a Nip XL, made it a little bit bigger. I think that would sell like hotcakes too, because I think this design is really good. I love this style of blade. The handle just flows real nicely. You pretty much have a straight line here, and it just has a nice indentation with the choil right there as well. So I think overall this thing looks really good, looks clean, simple. So I'm gonna have to go 5 on this one as well. I have a feeling so far this is the 4th knife I have reviewed in 2024. I have a feeling this one's probably gonna be the highest rating one so far, just because it's that good, and I really am, again, just blown away from it, or by it, excuse me. But next up, we're going to talk about action. So, of course, like I said a couple different times, you have a hole for deployment. You have a flipper tab up here. Kind of a minimalistic flipper tab, but it does have jimping. My phone will focus. Way up over the top there, so that's really nice. You're able to get grip no matter where you land. Now for the detent, QB killed it with the detent. It's very snappy. You guys can hear it snapping back in, which is really nice. So flipper tab, I prefer a push button. You guys know this over a light switch. Light switch, you can manipulate it very well. Flies right out of there, but I just prefer the push button. It just works easier for me. Just find a kind of, put your finger on the top of the flipper tab and bang, flies right out. Now for middle finger flick, just works so well. Absolutely is a joy to fidget with and use. It just fires out of there. And there's something about when small knives are fun to fidget with, they are just fun to fidget with, guys. But when small knives are not fun to fidget with, they're not, like, I don't know, it's annoying. Like if you would put this one up against, as much as I enjoyed the knife, the liner lock Riv, I'm picking this one 10 times out of 10 over the Riv for fidgetability. And I mean, look at that, guys. Drop shut action with, again, you have plenty of lock bar access on there. Drops to your nail. You guys see that bounce? One shake and you're closed, or a couple micro shakes and you're closed. It's so smooth. No blade play whatsoever. And to get that good of action, and it's hard to do that with small knives because you have a lot less material, much smaller blade. When you release the blade, you have a lot less weight swinging down on top. So for that to be able to do that, that's just fantastic. So good. Middle finger flick is just phenomenal. Thumb flick is good. It's a little bit awkward just due to how you have to kind of hold it and fly it out of there. I never really do the thumb flick. I'm always middle finger flicking it or using the flipper tab, which is just great. Great closing action. You can index finger flick it, but for the size of the knife and everything it does for you, again, I have to give it a 5. That's three? That's 3 straight 5 so far, guys. I wonder which one will break the streak. And I think this one will. It's Acoustics. The great Acoustics, the middle finger flick just gives a thundering thwack out of there. Really good. Good flipper tab thwack too. Then on close, you do have that kind of nice resounding item home sort of sound. So it's really good. I'm not going to give it a 5. I'm not going to say it's to that level. You don't get the tings and the rings and the dings of a titanium frame knife that you sometimes get or most often get. But it is good. I will give this a 4. I think it's very, very good. Especially because, fat carbon and camo carbon, it's not like the most noise inducive. Like it kind of just swallows things up. I feel like it doesn't allow sounds to bounce around. So you have to take that into effect as well. But yeah, next up we're going to talk about ergos. And, spoiler alert, ergos are going to be 5 out of 5 as well. Now, if the choil wasn't on there, it'd be a little bit different story. But you guys know Kevin Collin, their love for choils, and this thing absolutely sings with the choil. However, if you don't use a choil, your your pointer finger has a nice natural restriction point right there with the scale. The rest of your fingers follow suit. I can just barely get 3 fingers on here. My ring finger is kind of just hanging on for dear life. really is kind of swished, and my pinky finger has nowhere to go. Now my thumb does land on the jimping right there, and it's not the most, uncomfortable thing in the world. Like I could get away with using this in this grip, but to me, obviously the real money grip is this choil. Fingers move up, so middle finger goes here in the natural restriction point. The rest of the 2 fingers follow suit. Much better. The pinky's still kind of right on this hump right there, where it's still kind of like could fall off, but as long as you grip down enough, it's not going to happen. Then your pointer finger wraps around the choil, and your thumb can land here in the jimping. It can land out here. It can even land out here on the front part of the blade if you really need some great control. But this is great for processing cardboard. Fantastic grip for it. This thing is an absolute beast at package opening for Amazon packages and whatnot. Letter opening, cutting around labels for packages. The pinch grip works really well. And that's honestly what I think Kevin and Colin sort of designed this for. They even have it here in the description. Sporting a 2.25-inch hollow ground S90V blade, you're looking at one of the baddest box cutters around. And honestly, that's really, where this thing shines. It's fully capable, and it punches way above its size and its weight class of being an everyday EDC knife. But I think this thing is just a fantastic little utility blade for cutting. I wouldn't take this knife out and use it hard in the field. Could it hold up to it? I think it could. I mean, it's that well made. It's that awesome. But I just think it really excels at being a 5th pocket carry, especially with just this hollow grind, super thin edge. S90V is a fantastic steel. I'm really kind of growing to love S90V as my favorite sort of premium steel, or not sort of, but definitely premium steel. Just has a lot of good qualities about it. Really good. I believe it has really good edge retention. Don't quote me. I'm not a steel nerd. I'm just kind of get my preferences and stuff like that through watching other people's videos and what I see on Instagram and whatnot. But yeah, just a pinch grip works really good. Middle finger, thumb, pointer finger up top here, just drop it down and I can just slice around whatever. You get a great grip. The camo carbon has obviously these milling lines in here, down there, and then same on this side. So it gives you that extra grip when you're, fully wrapped around it. But it's a lightweight, obviously 2.1 ounces, super, super lightweight. Cannot complain at all there. So yeah, for Ergos, I have to give it a 5 again. This thing is just really that good. Carry. Obviously, this knife is tiny. It literally fits inside my hand. I mean, you can barely tell it's there. Carries so well. Again, 2 ounces. I've carried this in gym shorts and sweatpants around the apartment so many times. Don't even know it's there. I've carried this in jeans a couple times. Don't even know it's there. The one thing maybe I would have told Kevin and Colin to go a little bit different is I know this is kind of a premium model, but I think a wire clip would have done really well on this knife, just to allow it to sink into the pocket a little bit more. Because while the milk clip looks good and it does function good, it goes in a pocket easily. It pops out over the clip, over the lip of your pants really easily. You do have about this much sticking up out of there, which doesn't bother me that much. I've grown to appreciate milk clips and stuff like that. But I think a wire clip would just kind of fit the overall 5th pocket carry, small, unobtrusive, just simple knife almost. And I think a wire clip would go really good on that. So I'm gonna knock it, I guess, maybe a half of a point for that. But it's so lightweight, it's so just smooth to carry. You do have a flipper tab down here with some jipping. So if you happen to be going down for it for change, medicine, things of that nature, and you go to pull your hand out, there is a slight chance that you might pull this out with it, but I never had any of those issues. And yeah, I mean, I think this, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think this might be the best 5th pocket carry knife you could buy, just for size, ergos, everything like that alone. But like I said, I do think maybe a wire clip would work a little bit better, so I'm going to dock at half a point for that, but that's just a personal thing for me. You guys maybe could not care less about a wire clip, so so on and so forth. But just my review, and I want to give you guys my honest opinions about it. But that takes me to my final category of price point and what I recommend this knife. So the Divo Knives Nip came in at $175. Now a lot of you guys might think, well, it's a small knife, it shouldn't cost that much, but that's not true, because honestly, when you're manufacturing small knives like this, it takes a lot of time to manufacture the smaller parts for it. So it's not like it's a small knife. It should automatically mean it's less money. But I think for $175, I can absolutely recommend that for you guys. I think it's a absolutely fantastic knife. And I know for sure when I send this off to the next person, I'm going to miss it. I wasn't expecting, like I said, when I got this in, I wasn't really expecting to love it as much as I did. But I honestly have really, really enjoyed it. And like I said, I'm going to miss it. And I think this might be, it's definitely on the higher end list. You know, if I would go to list all the Divo knives in order that I like from least, or from, you know, best to worst, I think this one's breaking, you know, probably at least top 5, maybe top 3. That's how much this thing is just really spoken to me. And yeah, so I have to give it, again, another 5. And I'm not doing this just because Kevin's my friend and I like Colin. You know, I'm not doing this because of that. I'm trying to be fully transparent with you guys, and I hope you guys always think that. So I'm not just like hyping it up because it's another Divo product, but guys, it's that good. If you guys are interested, I definitely would be scouring the secondary for them. I really can't say more than, you know, more than I already have for it. It's just a really good knife. So for the price point, for the value, you know, you're getting camo carbon, you're getting S90V, a flipper tab, hole for deployment, fantastic action, great ergos, just all around a great blade shape. Just everything about it is just phenomenal. Carries well. I got to give it a 5. So, excuse me. Now, real quick, let me add this up. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 25, and then 4.5, 4.5. So that's 34, guys. So that missed a perfect pocket knife rating by me by 1 point. So I don't know. To me, that falls in the fantastic category. And I think that this is every bit of fantastic, you know, very, very close to being perfect. So yeah, but I'm going to wrap this up now. So let me know down below. Obviously, this was my full review of the Divo Knives Nip. But let me know down below what your guys' thoughts and opinions are. Try to get a nice little thumbnail there on the Divo Knives Nip. Do you have one? Did you miss out on one like me? Because if you did, honestly, you missed out on a great one, as I did too. So it is what it is. But leave a comment down below. And as always, shout out to Kevin for sending me this and allowing me to check it out and review it for you guys. I always appreciate you, Kev. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you guys are watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.